Good Tuesday afternoon, everybody. I'm meteorologist Tim Pandajis here with your tropical update. Now we have two storms out in the Atlantic, one a subtropical storm, one a tropical storm, Eta and Theta. In fact, we may even get Iota before the week is out. Here's the latest updates here. Eta slightly stronger than when we talked about it yesterday, but it's moving very slow. In fact, right now, it's virtually stationary in the Gulf of Mexico. Subtropical Storm Theta makes history, 2020. Now the most active on record, 29 named storms beating out 2005. And number 30, the 30th named storm is on the way. Iota may develop in the southern Caribbean. Right now it's got about a 70% chance within 5 days. So here's the comparison, 2020 versus 2005. In terms of named storms, we have surpassed it, becoming the most active on record. But notice 2005 still carries the record for most hurricanes in a season. At 15, we stand at 12 with 5 majors. 2005 had 7 majors altogether. Here's the Atlantic Basin right now. Eta, Theta way out in the Atlantic, and what could potentially become Iota that has now entered the southern Caribbean and headed westwards into very, very warm waters. Let's start off with Eta. Yesterday when we talked, it had around 50-mile-per-hour winds. Now we're back up to 60 miles per hour, gusts to around 70. And the big issue yesterday was it was virtually void of any convective activity. We had hardly any warm or cold cloud tops out there. Now, as we look at infrared imagery, which tells us the temperature of the cloud tops, when we see the shades of white and pink showing up there, that's extremely cold cloud tops, meaning the thunderstorm activity is more intense all around the center, which you can see here is basically stationary just off the northwest coast of Cuba. It's now start to begin to move northwards. Yesterday there was a ridge building over to the north of it, shoving it to the south. Now once that erodes, it'll begin to move slowly off towards the north here in the short term. Visible satellite imagery, you can see we have more of a central dense overcast here with the stronger thunderstorm activity associated with it. And when you look at the water vapor imagery, still a ton of dry air wrapped completely around it. But you'll notice here the system itself is doing a good job of kind of warding off any of that dry air and preventing it from getting entrained into the center that would in fact choke it off, and it would begin to cease organizing pretty much. Here's the track from the hurricane center as of 1 o'clock, a very slow movement to the north. And I think it's got a window of opportunity here to develop into a hurricane once again. You see it maxes out here on the hurricane center estimate to 70 miles an hour. It's 74 or more to become a Category 1 hurricane. It's over some very, very warm sea surface temperatures here in part of the Gulf of Mexico loop current that's currently set up in that area. So I think you could take advantage of it, especially if it wards off that dry air and the wind shear remains moderate to even low at times. So we could see it pop up and overachieve here in the short term. But moving farther to the north, notice it is on a weakening trend as it heads towards land, which is great news because pretty much every single storm that's headed towards the Gulf Coast so far this year, there are a few exceptions, but most of them have gained strength as they move closer to the coast. So this is good that it'll be weakening here as we get closer to the weekend. A lot of time between now and then. And look at the sea surface temperatures on its trajectory northwards. I mean, we're pushing the upper 80s to near 90 where it is now. And really for the next 24 hours, it'll be over that. And we still have sustainable warmth here all the way to the north as we get towards the panhandle of Florida, where it could potentially make landfall. All in all, slow movement once again with this storm, so it would be a lot of rain. Panhandle would see the highest totals, likely over 6 inches of rainfall there, and then a lot of the remnants once it moves over land, moving over the southeastern portion of the United States, talking anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 to maybe 5 inches in some local areas. So flooding is possible, but we're not seeing foot and a half totals that we've seen with previous tropical rainmakers. All right, let's jump into the central Atlantic now and over towards Theta. Subtropical storm. First question, you're probably asking yourself, what does that even mean? Well, that has the characteristics of a tropical cyclone and an extratropical cyclone. Mainly what it is the difference in how it draws its energy. It's not exclusively drawing energy from the warm ocean waters. And we're getting farther into the North Atlantic now. Even though the waters are warm enough, it's not exclusively driving its energy from that. You can see it's kind of caught up in a frontal system too. And it's not threatening any land right now either, which is some great news as it's pushing close to a hurricane status. As we move a little bit farther out in time, it's expected to stay a subtropical storm. There's the Azores, there's the Canary Islands, so it should kind of split the difference and head in between the two. But the remnants of which could possibly move towards Morocco or even Portugal, with some extra rainfall by, say, early next week. Then we jump down into the southern Caribbean where we have an area of low pressure continuing to organize. Short term, not so much. 10% chance of development there. But as it moves towards the west, relatively favorable environment for it to develop. Not that much dry air. We also don't have that much wind shear, but the sea surface temperatures are extremely warm still. So within 5 days, about a 70% chance we could see Iota, the 30th named storm of the season, develop right there. Well, it's still very active even though we're in November now. In fact, only 5% of all named storms happen in the month. We've already had 2, so that's about 7% of our total so far. We may see a few more before the month is out. If you have any questions on the tropics or anything other weather-wise, find me on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.